Hello, fourth grade math. This video is for your Wednesday lesson, or the third lesson of the week. This is a new lesson. Even though it's still focused on long division, we're going to do something a little bit new today, but not really. It's not going to be hard. We'll do just the first 8 problems of the lesson today so you can get the hang of it and I can see how you're doing, and then you will do the rest of the practice tomorrow. So I want you to think back to like the end of last week and the beginning of this week when we would have problems like this. So let's say I had 562 divided by 7. So these problems were the ones where when we started going through our digits, right off the bat, we couldn't do it because we would ask ourselves, how many times can 7 go into 5? And the problem is that 7 is bigger than 5. It can't go into it, because even just 7 times 1 goes over. So what we were doing is we were putting a 0 and then we were expanding. Okay, how many times can 7 go into 56? It can go in 8 times. What is 7 times 8? 56. Subtract, 0, bring down the 2. So this part is kind of like what's going to happen today. How many times can 7 go into our new number 2? Well, just like when we started here, it can't. 7 is bigger than 2. It cannot go in. So what do we do when this happens in the middle of the problem, not just at the beginning? Well, you do the same thing. If you can't do it, you put a 0 up in that spot. So 7 cannot go into 2. It can go in 0 times. So I'm going to put a 0. And in this case, because there's nothing left to bring down, this just becomes your remainder, like that. So we're going to do some more problems where this will make more sense, okay? But what's going to happen is that you're going to find, yeah, like in the middle of the problem is where we're going to run into issues, not just right at the beginning. I need to erase that. Okay, so let's do 824. And let's divide it by 8. So we're going to start off just like we always do. How many times can 8 go into 8? In this case, it can. This number is not bigger than that number, so it'll work. 8 can go into 8 one time. 8 times 1 makes 8. Subtract, 0, bring down the 2. Start all over. All right, here we go. This is what we're practicing today. How many times can 8 go into 2? It can't, because 8 is bigger than 2. So just like before, if this can't go into this, we put a 0. Now before, I was having you expand the number. I was doing that little line underneath. In order to expand this number, you're just going to bring down again. So now our new number is 24. So think about what we just did. Pretend that's not there here. Okay, we had a new number 2. How many times can 8 go into 2? It can't. It's too big. Put a 0, bring down the next digit in order to expand to now be 24. How many times can 8 go into 24? 3 times, which makes 24. 0, nothing left, so no remainders. So 103. Okay. Let's do some more practice. It's going to make more sense the more you do it. So let's do, let's do 361 divided by 6. Okay, so same steps. How many times can 6 go into 3? Well, it can't, because 6 is bigger than 3. So we put a 0. Expand. How many times can 6 go into 36? It can go in 6 times. 6 times 6 makes 36. Subtract, 0, bring down the next digit, start all over. Okay, how many times can 6 go into 1? It can't. 6 is bigger than 1. So when we can't do it, first things first, put a 0 up here. Now in this case, we can't expand because there's nothing left to bring down. So because there's nothing left to bring down, that just becomes the remainder. Okay? All right, do some more here. Let's do 100, no, let's do 804 divided by 4. Okay? All right, just like always, how many times can 4 go into 8? It can, because this is smaller than that. It can go in 2 times, which makes 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Bring down the next digit. Start all over with our new number. But our new number is 0. Let's see how this is going to work. Ask yourself the same questions. How many times can 4 go into 0? It can't, because 4 is bigger than 0. So remember, anytime we can't do anything, you put a 0 in that spot. Then you expand. You either expand by drawing a line underneath, or if we're already down here, you bring down the next digit, okay? So now, here is our expansion. Instead of working with 0, now we're working with 4. How many times can 4 go into 4? 4 can go into 4 once. Minus 4 is 0, so no remainder. So 201. So it's not hard. You just got to remember that if at any point in the problem you can't do it because the number is bigger than the other one, put the 0 at the top and then bring down the next digit in order to expand the number. Okay? Let's do one more. Let's do 529 divided by 5. Okay? All right. So, right off the bat, how many times can 5 go into 5? In this case, 5 can go into 5 once, which 5 times 1 makes 5. Subtract 0, bring down the next digit, start all over. Okay? How many times can 5 go into 2? Oh, here we go. It can't, because 5 is bigger than 2. So if you can't do it, first things first, put a 0 and then bring down the next digit in order to expand your number. So now we're working with 29, okay? How many times can 5 go into 29? Can go in 5 times, which makes 25. Subtract 4, nothing left. Remainder 4. Okay. All right, so watch this video again if you need to. Today you are only going to do the first 8 problems on page 238 so that you can get the practice. Sometimes you might not be able to do it right off the bat. It might be right off the bat that the number inside is smaller than the number outside. You've been doing that. Just put the 0, expand, and then work your way through. Sometimes it'll happen later in the problem, like when you're already down doing some subtracting. Again, if you can't do it, put a 0 at the top, then bring down the next digit in order to expand the number and make it bigger. All right, so just 8 problems. When you're done, send a picture to me right away so I can see if you're getting it before I have you move on to the Thursday assignment or tomorrow's assignment. Okay? All right, good luck.